Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Lex Talks Stuff Podcast, the podcast where I feel like talking about whatever I feel like. And today, I got my buddy Jack Nelson here, and we're going to be talking about Thunderbolts and how it's great,
Yes.
and how we wish more Marvel movies were like Thunderbolts. But for first-time listeners, Jack, do you want to introduce yourself?
Hello, my name is Jack Nelson. I'm a friend of Lex. I went to see Thunderbolts probably 2 or so weeks ago now. I thought it was a good movie. I'm certainly not a Marvel slash comic book fan as Lex is, but I thought it was good. I liked I haven't paid attention to the movies in the last like 5 years or so. Ever since Endgame, I haven't really paid attention, but it was good. I'm excited to see if they keep up with this streak. I would be interested in seeing Fantastic Four and Doomsday and beyond.
Yeah, no, I feel you on that. I did keep up after Endgame, but just a lot of stuff just kind of fell by the wayside after like I think it first started when Thor Love and Thunder came out and I didn't see that in theaters and then everything else slipped by.
Hmm.
Like I just started not getting excited and just started skipping some projects. Like there's still a bunch of MCU projects that I've never seen.
Hmm.
Like I didn't see Miss Marvel, I didn't see She-Hulk. I didn't see the Marvels. I didn't see Secret Invasion. I didn't continue with What If. Like there's stuff that I didn't keep up with. And I'm just like, I don't know if I'm missing anything.
Yeah.
But I did finish X-Men 97, and that's really good.
Okay. Does that have to do with Thunderbolts?
No, I'm just saying that X-Men 97 is a really good animated show, and if you want to get into X-Men, I highly recommend that. Um, but so Thunderbolts, I thought this was a really good movie. I thought it was the proper step into what I would have wanted to see in an MCU movie post Endgame. Where I'm just like, now that you did the big thing and that you got everybody's attention on what you can do, try making smaller, more character-driven stories.
Yeah.
Like I felt Thunderbolts, like its greatest strength was in its characters.
I thought it was pretty good considering the fact that it felt like the first, granted, I haven't seen a lot of the more recent Marvel stuff, but it felt like the first Marvel thing in quite a while where it makes sense that they didn't call up every single hero in the time zone to come deal with that problem, considering it must have happened in their perspective in like 90 seconds or so.
Yeah, that's true. Like people were like, "Where was Spider-Man?" I was like, "I don't know. He's probably studying for midterms.
Yeah.
He's in college right now.
It
Probably
made
he
the
was just
world feel small in an appropriate sense, not just small because you couldn't afford to have the other actors in this movie.
yeah, exactly." And I don't have a problem with that because sometimes some characters are just off doing their own thing, which I think they need to be able to establish more. Like in Spider-Man Far From Home, when this multiversal threat was going on, and Nick Fury was saying, "Hey, Spider-Man, we need your help with Mysterio." Spider-Man just went, "Well, what about Thor? The off-world, Captain Marvel, unavailable, Doctor Strange." Won't return my texts. Like it just stuff like that.
Yeah.
And I think that should be okay. Yeah. I think that's fun and that's fine. Uh but yeah, with Thunderbolts, it took a bunch of these characters that not really a lot of people cared about and just made them fun and interesting and put them all together on a team.
Well, there's still one character I think most people don't care about. I don't even think the movie cared about really.
Oh, really? And by the way, this is a spoiler review. Who do you think?
Taskmaster.
Dude, when they killed Taskmaster and shot her in the head, I laughed my ass off in the movie theater. I was like, "Yay, she's
I
dead."
Well, I don't really know because I know she was the villain for Black Widow, which I haven't really seen. I've seen bits and pieces of that, but like, I saw Taskmaster plastered all over the promotional material, and then she got killed the first like 10 minutes of the movie, and I was thinking to myself, I'm like, oh, is she gonna come back? She's like all over the material, like just to
Yeah,
axe her like that, like she gonna come back? Oh, those are the credits. She's
that's
not back. Oh,
that's true. They definitely misled people with the marketing, which I don't appreciate, but then again, you surprised people.
yeah.
But like Taskmaster was one of the worst parts of the Black Widow movie. I hated that they didn't just kill her off at the end of that movie. So when they killed her off in the beginning of this movie, I was perfectly fine with that because I just thought MCU Taskmaster was lame. I don't think you could have salvaged her. There's people online that are arguing you could have, and I'm like, where the hell are you guys?
Hmm. Or what would you like? What makes her so bad as a Taskmaster compared to the comics?
Well, Taskmaster in the comics, his power is he can look at people and copy their fighting styles.
Okay.
He can copy their agilities, fighting styles, so on and so forth. Not powers, but he can also do weapons.
Yeah,
So
because like he wouldn't be able to go toe to toe with the Hulk, yeah, but would
no,
be
no.
like against Captain America.
Yeah, because Taskmaster doesn't really have superpowers. He's more just like a combat chameleon.
Hmm.
And so his name is like Tony Masters. He's a mercenary and he's kind of a talker. And every now and then he will make a school where he like trains assassins and stuff like that.
Okay.
And then in the Black Widow movie, Taskmaster is Dreykov's daughter that was mentioned in the first Avengers, where Loki's like, "Yeah, Natasha, you killed Dreykov's daughter," and revealed that Dreykov like salvaged her daughter's body and then just like turned her into a bionic soldier for
Hmm.
killing. And but the thing was, she didn't have like a personality or anything like that. Like she was just quiet, Terminator, deadpan. And then by the end of the movie, they turn off her programming and she was like, "Is he gone?" Which was like, yes, that's sad, but I'm also just kind of like, this isn't Taskmaster. This is something else with the name Taskmaster to it.
Yeah.
Because I already knew who Taskmaster was before and thought Taskmaster was interesting. So I just thought it's a little bit of a bummer. It was like, what we got, I just thought was lackluster. And I was like, I don't think I would have cared about her if you tried.
That's fair.
But now onto the people that I did care about in the movie. Yelena Belova, who was the standout of Black Widow, in my opinion. Her and David Harbour were both the standout of the Black Widow movie, and I wanted to see Yelena and Alexei in more stuff. I was
Hmm.
like, I was like, I doubt we're gonna get more Red Guardian, but who knows? You cast David Harbour and you're not doing anything with him. And I liked Yelena, but after this movie, I loved her.
Yeah.
I
I
think
would
they
like to
just
see honestly the two of them in like a mini series where it's just like a buddy cop adventure going across America.
yeah, like what do they do after Black Widow?
Yeah, how did he establish his limo
Yeah,
business?
that'd be funny.
I'd
Uh,
imagine I'd imagine that Red Guardian falling into the limo driving business would be one of those things where everything keeps happening by accident. Like he takes out a target that just so happens to have a limo business, and he's like, "Well,
yeah.
I have to finish tonight's clients," and he has to like drive whoever was supposed to be escorted that night, and he like starts to really like it, so he
Mm,
just starts taking more and more clients.
yeah, that'd be funny. I would be done. I'd be down for that. That'd be fun. But yeah, they were great in Thunderbolts, like a great father-daughter duo. Even though like Alexi's not like her real dad,
Yeah,
he was a spy dad when she was a kid. But like clearly he loved being her dad and always loves being there for her, but he just was like, I don't know how to truly be the dad you need, because also
yeah,
I think I'm a loser. And she's like, well, I'm a loser too, and I still needed you, and they both, and her scene where, actually, we'll talk about like that scene later, between Yelena and Alexei. But I want to go through a few other people. Like I want to talk about Ghost. She was
Hmm.
great in the movie. I wish we got more stuff with her in the movie. Like I already liked her in Ant-Man the Wasp.
Which has she appeared since then?
No,
Okay.
no, the actress has not appeared in anything else Marvel-wise after Ant-Man and the Wasp, and we were all like, well, what so is Wasp just gonna be walking around fucking off? Like what's gonna happen? And uh we're just waiting and nothing was happening. And I just always thought she was interesting and fun. And then they made her more fun in this to watch. Like she had such a good rapport with everyone.
Yeah. They did a really good job of making these, everyone's been going to the James Gunn school of dialogue assholery because everyone in this movie was like assholes to each other, but they bantered really well.
Yeah, yeah, and I think it worked very well, and I think it helped her because she was interesting. Like
Mm.
she's not, and she's an original character too. She never
Yeah.
existed in comics. Her father, Elias Starr, existed in comics and is called the villain Eggman. Yeah, he's an
Sonic
ant.
Adventure looking ass.
Yes, he's a bald guy with glasses, just a scientist, like a Ant-Man villain. And so, um, and Elias Starr, aka Eggman, technically showed up in a flashback of Ant-Man and the Wasp, and he died in an accident, and the accident transformed his daughter Ava into like the Ghost. And Ghost in the comics is a totally different character too.
Hmm.
So just like a creepy old man with like ghost phase shifting powers. So they
Okay,
just
like an actual ghost.
yeah. And so what they did was they just like gave her the title, and so she's just an amalgam of other things while also being her own character, and I just thought it was fun using her. Because
Hmm.
when they announced that they were going to be using her, I'm like, hey, there you are. I loved you in that movie. I'd be cool with you
Yeah,
coming back.
that one movie that was like 7 or 8 years ago at this point.
Yeah, and I actually am one of the few people that really, really loves Ant-Man and the Wasp. I thought that movie was dope. I actually even like it a little better than Ant-Man 1.
Okay.
But Quantumania still. Like the less said about Quantumania, the better.
Mm.
They didn't
Yeah,
even
I
have
haven't seen that one. So,
they didn't even have Luis in that movie.
oh, what the fuck? No, Luis.
Yeah, I know. And like Scott Lang narrated his own life of what was going on. Like he was reading from his book. And I'm like, you could have given this to Luis if you wanted to do narration.
Also,
Like
to be fair, Marvel movies are not complex enough to require narration.
yeah, because he's narrating his life of like, well, this is where I'm at right now. I'm with my family, I'm with this, I'm with that. And I'm like, you could have given this to Luis and it would have worked perfectly. Because you don't need him in the whole movie. That's fine. You don't have room for him in the whole movie. Fine. Just have the opening where he just opens the book, reads it, closes it, and then the rest of the movie goes forward.
Mm.
But they
Not
didn't do
only
that.
that, have him read like each sentence and then have him interject with one of his Luisisms.
Yeah, or what could have been done is they're telling the story about going into the quantum realm, and Luis interrupts. It's like the Princess Bride,
Yeah.
where Columbo is talking to Fred Savage. Like that could have been awesome. I would have been fine with that. That I think we just made a way better movie.
Hmm. They should
But
have hired us right after the
absolutely,
pandemic.
instead they hired Rick and Morty writers. Uh, and poor Peyton Reed, the director of the movie, like I feel like he's never gotten to make the Ant-Man movie he's wanted to make. He's always had to go off of other people.
Has he directed the other twos?
Yeah, because Edgar Wright was originally directing the first Ant-Man, then dropped out just before they started filming. Then they put Peyton Reed on as a director to finish what Edgar Wright started.
Hmm.
Then Ant-Man was going to be in uh, prison because of Civil War. And so he's like, I need a direction for this. And they were like, oh, he's gonna Like he wanted to put Giant Man in Ant-Man and the Wasp, but Civil War did that before him and was like, "Oh man." It's like,
Mm,
but Scott's in prison again. It's like, "Oh, I can work with this." And then kind of got to do the story he wanted to do with Ant-Man and the Wasp.
okay.
And then Quantumania, they just straight up told him what to make.
Here's how it's gonna be.
Pretty much that's what it felt like. Like I feel bad for him because he did a movie called The Breakup. I never saw it, but a couple of people I know saw it and they said that was really good.
Hmm.
And he directed the Mandalorian episode with Luke.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
That's pretty cool.
so he's got a resume on him, so I felt a little bad for him. Speaking of people that I kind of feel bad for, John Walker.
Yeah. Why do you feel bad for him?
I kind of feel bad for him because he could have been happy. He got in his own way.
Yeah, as is
Like,
always the case.
yeah, like, and the thing is, I didn't even think he was that big of an asshole in Falcon and the Winter Soldier. Like, people hated him, and I was like, I think this guy's kind of charming. Like, I don't agree with everything, but he's kind of charming and not that bad of a guy. His comic book counterpart is far more douchey than
Mm.
his movie counterpart. So if anything, I was like, this John Walker's kind of an upgrade compared to comic book John Walker,
How so?
who has a couple of moments, but overall I prefer the movie one.
What does he do in the comics that makes him like more of an asshole?
He agrees with more like authoritarian figures uh and more like and occasionally some like groups that enforce their points of view. He's like, I agree with like there was these group of people called the Watchdogs or something like that were like terrorizing areas, and he's like, I kind of agree with their mission, but they're also destroying this thing, so it's a conflict. Like Mark Gruenwald, who was the creator of him, kind of was trying to do this thing of we have a very very morally complex Captain America,
Mm.
and then as time goes on, he's like more douchey. Like he's more what people think Captain America is. It's like, oh, he's a military douche that's
Okay,
just going
yeah.
to belittle you. And I mean, a movie John Walker certainly has his moments, especially in this movie towards a couple of characters.
To pretty much everyone.
Yeah, but I think he was funny in this movie, and I think kind of redeemed himself in some ways, where now he's given the chance to like be the hero without like trying way too hard.
Okay, yeah.
Because like we see that his wife left him. His wife and his kid left him, and now he's just like by himself and alone because he was just mourning his reputation.
Yeah.
And he looks back and he's like, God, I was such an asshole for that.
It'd be nice if he could get like a redemption arc where he finally figures out not to be under DeFontaine's thumb.
Yeah. Not to like that's why I wish we could have gotten like a Thunderbolts 2 before Doomsday. Doomsday, I feel like we should be like another 5 or 6 years out. Like
Yeah.
2030. Because they I just saw today that Black Panther 3 is not gonna happen until 2028. I'll be like, that's a year after Secret Wars.
Mm.
So you So you want to have a Black Panther movie before Infinity War, after Endgame, and then after Secret Wars? You're crazy.
I wonder if they had to change up the plan a lot because of Jonathan Majors.
Yeah. Well, no, Jonathan. Yeah, they definitely had to change up the plan because of Jonathan Majors. Me and Mario Lima talked about Kang briefly on how they wanted to use Kang for like the fifth Avengers movie, and then Jonathan Majors, all that stuff happened. I still don't know if he's guilty or innocent. It's too many conflicting things. I
Mhm.
can't keep up with it anymore. All I just know is it's not happening. He's not happening.
Yeah.
I th and I think they should have just recast Kang and just continued onward instead of just scrapping the whole thing because now it's
Yeah,
like
I mean, like that's like the number one easiest character to hand wave away an actor change because he's a fucking multiversal threat, right? He could just
Yeah.
be a different looking dude.
Yeah. But people wanted Doom. They're like, we'll forget about Kang if you just give us Doom. And then they did. And it's like, oh, this is not what I wanted. I was like, this is a time where you shouldn't have listened to the fans.
To be honest, I was down for Doom, but not so much down for Doom as RDJ.
Yeah. So I was like, you got your wish. But that's me. Um, but yeah, like I do want to see more from the Thunderbolts and the biggest star of this movie, uh Lewis Pullman as Bob the Sentry and the Void.
Bob.
Yeah. He was fantastic in this movie. He played like three different characters in this movie and was so good in
Yeah,
it.
he did good. Yeah, all three. Now that you mention it, because definitely the Void, but now that you mention it, I didn't quite realize that the Sentry is different than Bob too.
Yeah, because he feels like he's more of a god when he's like Sentry.
Yeah, I gotta say, I really like the design for the Void. I know it's just an all black figure, but the subtlety at which they used his eyes,
Mhm.
like the way you can see like the reflections of his pupils through the darkness.
Yeah. I was saying, I said this in a text a while back. I was like, why does the Void in Thunderbolts look like the creature from Lights Out?
Yeah, I get what you mean.
Like that's what I think it looks like to me.
It is kind of like it's not as scary, but it makes me have like an uneasiness in my stomach whenever I see the Void.
I think if the Void didn't talk, I think that'd be scarier.
Oh, absolutely. Or
Yeah.
if it didn't move its like teeth, because like at the end you can see his teeth when he's like talking.
Yeah.
But like if he could speak without moving the mouth.
Yeah, but yeah, the Void was kind of scary, and I liked that because they did Sentry's costume, which is very MCU-ified, like lines and texture and all of that. Like it's a good suit, don't get me wrong. It's just I think I'm just a little tired of like lines and costumes.
Yeah.
But that's why I liked the Void's design because it was just all black. You couldn't tell any texture or anything like that. It was just sleek black and just a reflection in the eyes. And I was like, perfect.
So
Perfect.
in the movie, what is the reason that the Sentry becomes the Void? Actually, let me take that one back because I don't understand the whole becoming of the Sentry. DeFontaine was trying to like recreate the super soldier serum, right?
Yeah,
Or like make a
basically.
better one.
Yeah. Basically
And,
they're trying to make another super soldier.
and that's what Bob was subjected to. But how
Yes.
did like that formula become the Sentry?
Well, because Bob has so much trauma and like that's the thing, like Sentry is schizophrenic.
Hmm.
Sentry's a schizophrenic superhero. What happens if you give a super soldier with schizophrenia the super soldier serum? You're gonna get Sentry in the Void.
Okay. So they're a dichotomy. They one doesn't exist without the other.
Yes, pretty much. And in the comics, it's like every time the Sentry saves somebody, the Void needs to kill somebody. And so it's like this thing of like it's a little frustrating, but also kind of interesting. And I like the way the movie did it. And also like
Mm,
the way how they nerfed him properly where he just like couldn't remember because like there's so much going on up here that he's like I can't remember how to do it. All I
okay.
just know is these people are here for me and will help me get through it, which I think
Which
is the more important lesson.
at the end of that movie, does he still have his Sentry powers? He just doesn't remember that he does.
He still has them, he just doesn't remember how to use them.
Hmm.
So it's like a little like padded lock on there. But so, yeah, and I think that's the big thing about this movie. It's about like mental health and stuff like that.
Yeah. I came to realize, Marissa and I went to go see it and it was good, but like about 12 hours later, I'm, taking a shower, getting ready for bed, and the epiphany hits me that I watched that whole movie and they defeated the main villain with the power of friendship. And I didn't
Y-
even realize they pulled the fast one on me.
Yes, but here's the thing. They earned it.
Yeah, yeah, that's why they earned it so well. I didn't even notice.
Yeah, because like she was the only one hugging him. And then like they like were trying to pull him back and it kind of morphed into slightly a hug.
Yeah, a
But it
group pile at least.
yeah, like a group pile. Like it felt like a big hug. And it was just something that Bob really needed. And you're just like, no.
No, they saved him.
Yeah. Although one person that I would not have been upset if they killed in this movie, Val.
Yeah,
Her
it's she's
character her character was very good. She was interesting and fun, but like if you killed her, I wouldn't have been upset.
very slimy from the standpoint that right at the end she was able to finagle them all into being her new Avengers.
Kind of a realistic villain if you think about it.
Absolutely.
I have so many skeletons in my closet that I make it look like I have everything under control when I really don't. And I'm so slick and sly that I can turn anything that's going to go against me into a thing that's going to help me.
Mm,
And then Yelena kind of has like one over on her where she's just like, we now own you.
yeah, they're on like an uneasy piece, really.
Yeah. And even Val's kind of like, damn it, she's kind of right.
Mm. The one thing I think is slightly surprising to me, at least, is the original Avengers at least had like a very diverse power set. You know, you had a super soldier, a god, tech whiz.
Yeah.
You know, you had I guess you had like a secret agent and the Archer and the Hulk. But
Yeah.
now it's like the new Avengers are what, three super soldiers,
Yeah.
two highly trained assassins.
Mm, yeah. Yeah. Actually, you know what I just remembered? I totally forgot for a second Bucky was in the movie.
Yeah, he doesn't really do much.
He doesn't do much, but I am glad he's there and that he's a part of it. I think the benefit of having Bucky there is showing how far he's come.
Yeah, he's a senator now,
He's Congressman Barnes.
Congressman Barnes,
Yeah, that he's the oldest and the most attractive.
which I think is ironic considering I didn't realize that they allowed terrorists to serve in as elected representatives, but I guess we're there now.
Yeah, but then again, look who's, in the White House.
Mm.
So I at the at, when me and Tess were watching Born Again, uh, you know, a lot of people were saying like, how could Fisk win the election of being mayor? He's Wilson Fisk, and I'm just like,
People will buy it. Yeah.
yeah, I'm be like, look outside your window. You don't read the news very much, do you?
Honestly, shit, I'd rather have at least Wilson Fisk gets things done.
Maybe. I take Lex Luthor.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, like as long as he doesn't deem you as obsolete.
That's true. I mean, with Lex Luthor, all you need to do is, Superman would balance the budget. And then he would just do it all out of spite. All you gotta do is just nudge him, and then Lex Luthor will just like create world peace in spite of Superman.
Hmm.
See, Superman, I made the world better, and you didn't. He's like, yeah, this is all kind of what we wanted. Thank you, Lex. He's like, no, 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 no.
Superman could easily solve all the world's problems by just being a bigger asshole.
Yes, that would have been funny. I would love that. And we'll get into that later. But yeah, like with all the characters in Thunderbolts, I thought they were just really well done, and we got deep into a lot of them. Not all of them. I will
Yeah,
say, like Mal, the
the assistant.
assistant, wasn't that interesting, but she was kind of fun.
She felt like she existed 90% of the time to be the facilitator to DeFontaine's demands, you know.
Yeah,
Oh, clear out the warehouse. Oh, get me a coffee. Revive the Sentry Project. The only thing that she had like her own volition on was when she got to contact Bucky and been like, "Hey, my boss is doing illegal things."
Yeah. And still they could technically do that. I don't know why they didn't go forward with it.
Mm,
But so I but yeah, and Fontaine, we saw a little bit of her backstory and how she just views the world of like there's there's bad guys and then there's worse guys.
yeah,
I'm one of the bad guys. Like that's her view. And but in the movie, like it overall there's a lot of like there's gray areas, and that's where these guys come in.
yeah. I think it helps that all of the main characters that we followed in this movie are not the greatest of people. I mean, like the best person is probably technically Ghost, who is still a mass
I would
murderer
I would
slash
argue
thief.
Red Guardian. Red Guardian's not that bad.
Red Guardian's a is a dog of the well, not anymore, but he was a dog of the state. He was a super soldier. He not only that, but he was like a politically motivated super soldier. I mean, I
Yeah,
guess you
but
could say Cap was too, but
yeah, exactly. I think there's less blood on Alexi's hands than
yeah.
maybe some of the others. But so but so yeah, no, I thought it was good. I like the plot of just like we're all trying to get rid of Fontaine. But there's this other thing, and so now she's trying to get rid of us, and it's just this fun like political thriller. The I haven't seen Captain America Brave New World,
Mm.
the so there's people that are like, this is done the exact same way, yet people like this more. I wonder why. And I'm just like, eh, I that like people are just playing like the race card here for it.
Which
And
is
I
wild because like the main character in Thunderbolts is a woman, and
Yeah, but a white woman.
I guess I feel like yeah,
But it,
everyone's
uh,
you got to put them all in a hierarchy depending
yeah,
on
I know. But it's also one of those things where it's like I it's not about race for me, it's about like writing.
yeah.
So it's just like this thing of, well, maybe your movie could have been written better. Yeah. But
That's fair. I
so
haven't seen Brave New World either. I did think it was funny watching Thunderbolts, and they had that throwaway line where they were like, "Yeah, and our president turned into a giant red monster 6 months ago."
yeah. But yeah, any like last thoughts on Thunderbolts?
Not really. I'm excited to see them as the new Avengers in Doomsday.
Mm.
I imagine that they're probably. I feel bad saying this, but I feel like they're going to be jobbers for Doom or whoever. Like Doom is going to show up and just wipe the floor with the new Avengers.
Mm.
That way you
Yeah,
can have like the Fantastic Four and the X-Men and everyone else shine.
maybe. I kind of hope not, because now I like these characters.
I mean, I like them too. They just don't have, they don't have the heavy hitters that absolutely the Hulk was, that Thor could be. Even Iron Man could pull out some big guns if he needed to. What's the biggest threat they have in their arsenal? Like John Walker punches someone,
Yeah,
Lexi
with
punches
his
someone.
taco shield.
Yeah, which was that a vibranium shield?
No, it wasn't.
Okay.
Uh, but so yeah, but yeah, it's so crazy that they're the new Avengers. Because I knew about that before going to see the movie.
Hmm.
But yeah, and the couple crazy things, and this relates to the comics. So in the comics, Sentry is part of the new Avengers.
Okay.
So in this movie, he's the only person that is part of the new Avengers that makes sense. Is the new Avengers in the comics? So the Avengers at that time, it was like 2004. The Avengers were considered lame and stupid
Okay.
because it was like Scarlet Witch, Vision, Hawkeye, Ant-Man, Jack of Hearts, She-Hulk,
Hmm.
the Captain America, Iron Man, those characters. And they were considered lame at that time.
Okay.
Iron Man and Cap had their fans, but not a lot. And so Brian Michael Bendis came in and just killed all of them. Either killed them or debilitated them.
Hmm.
made Wanda go crazy and, you know, get rid of everyone. And then a few months later, they would start the new Avengers with Captain America, Iron Man, Spider-Man, Luke Cage. They wanted Daredevil, but they got him later.
Hmm.
Um, Spider-Woman, Jessica Drew, and Sentry. Oh, and
Okay.
Wolverine. So
Quite the
just all,
eclectic mix there.
yeah, so all the cool popular characters. So that was the group. So Sentry's like the only one, but what's funny is in like the first few issues of like um New Avengers, Yelena Belova shows up
Hmm.
and she's kind of like a bad guy asshole working with Shield. And then she just dies.
All right, I've had enough of you. Be gone.
Yeah, no, Yelena Belova was not cared about the way she is now. And one more crazy comic thing. The Thunderbolts in the comics were not like the Suicide Squad originally.
Okay.
Like
Were they
in
more just like a task force?
Yeah. Yeah, they kind of so the Thunderbolts 19 the year's 1996. Marvel's sucking that with their comics. They did a big event where all their heroes went into another dimension and left.
Hmm.
All that was left was like Spider-Man, X-Men, and Daredevil. And the world was like, we need new heroes. We're the Avengers and Fantastic Four are dead. What do we do now? And then these new group of heroes show up. Uh, you know, Citizen V with the Meteor and Songbird and Mach 7 and Atlas and Techno and all those characters.
All those beloved characters that I've
Yeah,
never heard of.
brand new characters. They show up, they save the day, and they're like, "We know that we lost the Avengers, but we do our best to try to help the world." And then by the end of the first issue, Citizen V takes his mask off. He's scarred and deformed, and then puts on his real mask, and it's Baron Zemo. The
Ah,
Thunderbolts are a bunch of villains of the Marvel Universe in disguise as
okay.
heroes. And that was a big thing. Like, that was the biggest shock of the whole series, where it's like, oh my God, the Thunderbolts are actually the masters of evil?
Are we the baddies?
Yeah, and then as time goes on, they try their best. Like they're like, we're getting the favor of the public, and then they're kind of, and some of them are kind of like, I kind of like getting praised by the public for being a hero, you
Someone's got a
know?
praise kink.
Yeah, yeah, but they're just like, I kind of don't want to be a bad guy anymore. Like, I don't want to go back to jail. And so, few some time goes by. They pick up a kid named Jolt who got powers from Arnim Zola.
Hmm.
And so she becomes part of the team, becomes like their sidekick, and kind of helps transition them to being better heroes. Obviously, Baron Zemo is like, I'm not going to uh stop being evil. I'm a Nazi. I'm a Baron. Why am I gonna stop?
Yeah, I'm a villain.
Yeah. And so him and Techno, aka the Fixer,
Hmm.
who was a Marvel villain, they try taking over the world, and then the rest of them kind of start at first, and then they're like, we gotta save the day. And so they fight Zemo and save the day, and now they're kind of like trying to redeem themselves. Uh, and then later, Hawkeye joins the series and was like, you know what? I was a bad guy once too when I was younger. So I see myself in you guys. If you're truly real about it, I'll help you. And Meteorite, who is actually Moonstone, who's
Hmm.
a Captain Marvel villain. She's also an ex-psychologist and kind of a sociopath. That she's kind of like on the fence. She's like, I want to be my own boss, but I like being a hero. But I want to be bad, but I also kind of like the praise. Like it's just like, stuff like
Yeah.
that. And it's interesting. Like I never continued that far with it. I got like 33 issues in and then stopped. The writer left and then a different one came on. And I just had other stuff to read. But it's interesting and really fun. And it could you imagine had they like marketed it like almost like what they did now, but instead of like a title change, it's a cast change. Because
Okay.
you get like John Hamm to be Citizen V, the voice of Citizen V. And then, in the movie, the thing turns off and it's Daniel Bruhl back as Baron Zemo.
Hmm.
Like
But
and
playing Citizen V.
yeah, and then when he has like the voice, it's John Hamm's voice.
Okay.
Yeah, that way you can like trick, people in the marketing, and hire a bunch of like actors that no one's ever heard of before to play like characters no one's ever heard of before because Marvel has like a villain problem and likes to kill all their villains.
Yeah.
Uh,
That's what I
so
think for the movies. It would be more cool. That's one of the one things I do like about DeFontaine, the fact that she has been in multiple different projects, so you can see her as a villain in multiple different things.
yeah, but yeah,
I hope
like
they keep Doom around long enough for him to grow and be a villain.
yeah, or give it to someone else. Like I don't want RDJ to be doomed for the next 10 years.
Yeah, I agree with you.
Like get someone else. I was watching Nosferatu with Zach. And
Yeah.
there was like a Romani guy who was like standing in like some sort of doorway who was big, intimidating, and kind of scary. And I'm like, he could be Doom.
Yeah. Zach and I actually just saw that movie this weekend when I went up. It's very
Yeah.
good.
Yeah. It's very good. Like it's the village scene where Nicholas Hoult is talking to the Romani village.
Hmm.
Yeah, like one of those people there that was like, yeah, that could be Doom. And yeah. But so just shifting gears real quick. Uh this excites me about like the MCU going forward and kind of excites me for some stuff and maybe even Doomsday.
Yeah, I'm definitely excited for Fantastic Four. I didn't get to stick around in the theater to see the tease for
Oh, you
the
didn't?
movie. Nah, I had to go to work. I was kind of close that day anyway, but yeah, I'm excited to see it. I'm curious to see the whole retro futurism aspect of it.
Yeah. Do you know what the post-credit scene is?
I know it's like the Fantastic Four ship flies
Yeah.
in, right?
Yeah, so it's 14 months later after after the new Avengers are together. And so they got their costumes and Bucky said, "I just got back from a meeting with Sam. He's suing us for copyright for the Avengers."
Hmm.
And they're like, and Alexi is trying to
Does
like,
Sam even own the Avengers copyright? I'm surprised it would fall to Sam.
yeah, no, like he's trying to sue, like which is sad because I thought they just had like a bromance or something, and that just kind of threw it away off screen.
Hmm.
And so, Alexi's trying to rebrand. He's like, of New Avengers with a Z at the end to avoid the
With a
copyright.
Z and a asterisk as well.
Yeah, pretty much. And then they get like an alert about like, oh, some incursions are going on. What's going on outside? Something entered the atmosphere, and it's the Fantastic Four ship
Okay, flying in from space or like through a portal.
flying in from space. Sorry, I don't know what that was.
Okay.
Uh, but no, that's pretty fun. But yeah, that's pretty fun. I think it's pretty awesome, and it kind of makes me excited for Doomsday.
Yeah. Is the Fantastic Four supposed to be coming from a different Earth?
Yes, yeah, and I'm excited for that movie. I hope it's good. That and Superman, and we'll
Yeah.
talk. We'll talk for like a few minutes about Superman.
To be
Uh,
honest, I'm more excited for Superman than I am for Fantastic Four,
Same.
especially with that last trailer. I'd be curious to see. I like the scene where Lois was interviewing him.
Hmm. Yeah, where they're just like, let's do it, Cronkite. Okay,
Hmm.
Superman, Miss Lane. Like, and I'm just like, oh, that's so cool. You're doing the dichotomy between the characters. It's so cool. And It just feels more like a Superman that I've wanted to see for a while.
Yeah, especially considering the last 10 years or so of silver screen Superman appearances. He's been the moody, dramatic Zack Snyder version, which I don't think is the greatest version of the character.
Yeah. I like Man of Steel, but that's not my preferred version.
Yeah,
And there's a lot of people that are just like shitting on the new movie that are like Snyder Bros, and that it's just getting annoying. And there's people that are like, his costume looks goofy and stupid.
that's kind of the point.
Yeah, but they also think it just looks bad in general. And I'm just like, I don't think it looks that bad. I'm not crazy about the lines in the suit, but remove the lines, I think it's a 10 out of 10 Superman suit.
He's got the tidy whities or the tidy reddies on the outside.
Yeah, and people really don't like that. And I'm just like, I think that's good. I think that's fun. There's this guy that every now and then I look at see what he says, and I'm like, ugh. His name's Harsh Critic. He was in
That guy
that
you
video.
sent the other day.
Yeah, like there's criticisms, and then there's that guy. Like he's so he's such a Snyder bro that he called everyone in the cast ugly.
Mm,
He's
yeah,
like he's like this is an ugly Superman, an ugly Lois Lane, an ugly Lex Luthor. Everyone just looks miscast and ugly in this movie.
it just strikes me as weird.
He also was like, this movie looks like it's for children. Like this is a movie for kids, and there's a dumb, stupid dog in there,
Come on,
and
how can
just
you hate crypto?
and just bad writing, and everything looks too bright and silly. And it's like we will boycott this movie, and we will boycott every movie until we get back the Snyderverse.
Mm,
I'm just
yeah,
like,
okay.
yeah, it's this whole wallets closed initiation that
Yeah,
they're
Zack Snyder is
doing.
too busy with whatever his what is it now? Rebel Moon Part
Yeah,
2.
yeah, or no, he stopped with Rebel Moon or Twilight of the Gods, whatever it is. But so and he said, Zack Snyder said if he ever came back to DC, he would just do a live action Dark Knight Returns movie.
Okay, yeah, I can see that.
Yeah, just give him a good script, and I'll be fine with him doing it.
Yeah, make sure the script is written for him. Let him do all of the director of photography, but
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, that's the thing that sucks. Zack Snyder's moved on. His not even fans, fanatics, his cult has not moved on.
yeah,
Yeah, because it's like I'm glad that we got the Snyder Cut because it's a celebration of creative freedom because he was definitely screwed over with the death of his daughter, and they reshot everything, and his cut of the movie didn't come out, and so I'm so happy that he got to finish it and add what he wanted. So when people were like, I thought the Snyder Cut was too long, I was like, well, obviously it's going to be too long because it's his last hurrah. I don't think he's got anything else in him after this.
yeah. I feel like if that movie came out in theaters, it would have been too long. But the fact that one, it came out on streaming, and two, he had separated into what, like four 1 hour ish parts. Like
Yeah.
that's it's a good 4 days to watch TV rather than one movie to sit and watch for half a day.
Yeah, I did that one night.
Watch the whole thing.
Yeah. I just took a break in between. But I liked it. I thought it was fun and it did make me interested to see where it would go. But seeing it not continue didn't upset me to my core. Henry
Yeah,
Cavill being recast kind of upset me to my core at first. Like I was angry for like a month, and then I was like, maybe it's for the best, clean slate and whatnot.
yeah. Now he can work on his own stuff. Now that he's no longer Superman nor Geralt of
Geralt,
Rivia.
yeah, he might do a Highlander movie, and he's doing that Warhammer show. I think is
Mm.
that still going, or did it get canceled?
I think last I heard, the Warhammer is still a thing. It's for Amazon.
Let me see. Henry Cavill. Uh, So it says that it's still moving forward. Good. I'm glad. He's excited about it, and he's a big Warhammer fan.
Yes. The one thing that sort of concerns me though is like Warhammer is very wide. There's a lot of different like factions and stories in that universe. So the fact that they haven't really even said what the show's going to be about kind of makes me curious, like nervous.
Yeah.
Like is it going to be the Horus Heresy or is it going to be like literally anything else?
Yeah. But yeah, like Superman, I'm excited for it. I think it all looks good. I can't wait to see, a more optimistic Superman uh in this day and age. And if the movie is just good, I'll take that. It doesn't need I just don't want it to be mediocre and I don't want it to be like an Oscar. I don't need it to be I don't need to be the best movie ever or the worst movie ever. I just need to be a good solid movie.
Yeah,
And
solid enough
then
for a launching point.
yeah, solid enough for a launching point, and then we get to see all these other movies happen. Because then we'll probably get like a Batman announcement after the movie if it succeeds.
Mm.
You
If they can
know?
figure out how to do anything with that, because I don't know, I liked the Batman. I would be down to see that continue.
Oh, they are. They're going to continue that. They're just going to have two Batman running at the same time.
God, they got to stop like either let everything be its own movie or like let everything be together. It's weird to have multiple different Batmen running.
Well, here's the thing. James Gunn has said he likes Elseworld stories.
That's
So he's
fair.
like, there will be one big continuity, but he wants to give creators the freedom to not be beholden to continuity.
Mm.
Like, because what if they want to make a Superman Red Sun movie where
Yeah,
Superman falls into Russia? There's a, Teen Titans Go is still going to continue. That's not part of the DCU. That would be its own thing over there, you
yeah,
know?
that's fair.
So the stuff having its own thing under its own imprint, I think is pretty good, and I would not be opposed to it as long as Matt Reeves is happy and the movies are happening. I'm happy with that because maybe his Batman doesn't quite work in in a larger universe. Because also now we're getting Robin, Damian Wayne, and the Big Bat family, which is
Hmm.
something I've wanted for years. So it's like, okay, I got my gritty Batman detective movie with Riddler. Now I want my Batman and Robin and Bat Family movie.
Yeah,
That's the next big Batman movie that I want to see.
and yeah, I don't know how that would fully work out with the rest of like the superpowered DC movies. They'd have to be sort of separated, even if they're in the same universe.
Yeah, but I also think that like with Batman, the Brave and the Bold movie, with it being a Batman and Robin movie, I think it could work. Just have Batman just fight supernatural threats. Because he does
Okay,
that all
yeah.
the time. Because he does that all the time. He fights like Man Bat, Solomon Grundy, Clayface. But Ra's al Ghul comes from like a immortal pit. You also get there's times where Batman fights a werewolf.
Mm,
Like Mr. Freeze is a man submerged in like ice and can like freeze everything. Like
yeah,
there's all this cool, interesting stuff that they just don't want to do. And so I'm just like lean into the fantasy. And so that's what Superman is doing. That's what I hope the Brave and the Bold does. So don't I'm just my thing with it is tell good stories and don't be afraid to get weird.
yeah.
Yeah, so any final thoughts?
Not really. I think that pretty much wraps up. I didn't have a ton of thoughts on Thunderbolts. I just thought it was a good, simple return to form for a Marvel movie.
Well, what would you like to see in a Marvel movie going forward?
Not really a ton. Like it would, you'd have to have quite a complex storyline in order to get me back in the seat for like every movie. I want to see Fantastic Four just because I think it would be fun, and I'm curious to see Doomsday because they are absolutely stacking that movie. There's a lot of characters in that movie. I'm curious how it's going to even pan out.
Yeah, no, I'm very curious about that.
But to be honest, other than that, I don't have much else in terms of like, oh, I want to see this movie. It's those two, and it's the Superman movie are on my
Yeah,
docket.
same. But yeah, no, I thought this was great. I thought Thunderbolts was great, and I think it's at like $326 million at the box office right
Hmm.
now,
It was pretty good.
which is not a lot. I think it's definitely broken even. It's past broken even, but I think it could
Yeah.
do a little more. So
It's
for
a lot
people,
for a non-Marvel movie.
no, Thunderbolts is a Marvel movie.
Yeah, I'm saying that amount of money is a lot for a non-Marvel movie, but
No,
for a
yeah,
Marvel
yeah, yeah.
movie, 360 million is not a ton.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And I hope it does well. I hope it gets to like 500 million, something like that. That'd be
Yeah, at least
cool.
enough for them to want to do a sequel to it.
Yeah, or just communicate to Marvel Studios, this is the stuff we want.
Yeah,
Yeah. So, all right. Well, great. Thank you for being on, Jack. This was awesome.
of course. Always. Thanks for having me.
All right. And this will be uploaded to YouTube and Spotify and well, the updates people when they're going to be going up. They'll probably be this Sunday. So, be listening on Sunday, and I might even release it early on Saturday on Spotify.
Nice.
But so yeah, so thank you all for listening. Go see Thunderbolts, go support it. I think it's really good. And have a good day. Bye.
Bye bye.